Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So I was in the middle of explaining the procedure for the first day when you're dealing with the knowns. I had talked about how you need to mix the solutions in a particular order according to your table. So, for example, whatever the first solution is going to be, um, let's say it's silver nitrate. Um, so you would put silver nitrate into each of the 8 test tubes. And then according to your chart, whatever substance you have on that first row on the top, you're going to mix with the silver nitrate, which is the first one on the left. So you work your way across mixing the substances in each of your 8 test tubes. And then when you've done all your mixtures for that row, then all the 8 test tubes, you're going to put your substances, you're going to put the waste into the waste beaker, clean out your test tubes, rinse with DI water, and then you're going to add the next substance in the ladder going down the left side of your table. And then you're going to work your way across again each time. So each time you do that, each square that where they meet, so you're going to have the substances on top, and then you have these columns, and then you've got the rows, and where they meet, that square is where you're going to write your observations for the reaction. So you're doing this each time. So you're going to end up having 3 to 5 drops of whatever the first solution is that you added. And then you're going to add 3 to 5 drops of the second solution, and then you're going to look for a reaction to see if you can observe any indications of a reaction. So that means you got to mix it well. Let me do it this way. So you need to mix it well, and I showed the tapping of the micro test tube, so that way it'll mix it really well. Do that a few times. Observe anything that happens. So observe any changes. Do you see a precipitate? Does it get cloudy? Is it milky? What's going on there? Feel for heat. Hold it in your hands and feel for heat. Is it getting hotter, colder? What? And then smell. So when you smell, when you're looking for a smell, you don't want to stick the test tube. For example, you don't want to stick it up to your nose and go anything. That's not the way to do it. The way we do it is called wafting, right? So you hold it about so far and you move your hand over the top of it and you're bringing the scent to you. That way you get, if there is a scent, you get a small dose of it, not a strong dose of it. So wafting, you got to waft, okay? All right, so you're observing color changes. Is there a precipitate? Is it cloudy? You're looking for heat, colder, hotter, smell, things like that. If you don't have any evidence of a reaction, heat the test tube up in boiling water. And the way you're going to set up your boiling water apparatus is like this. So let me bring this down. So you're going to have your ring stand. You're going to have a ring. You're going to take your wire gauze. You're going to put it on top. And then you're going to have your beaker of water. And then of course you have your Bunsen burner, it's on, and then you want to make sure this is positioned so that it's not too close but not too far away. You're going to have to light the flame and see where the flame is. So you're going to have this already prepared. You should already have this prepared. So it's heating up as you're getting things ready. And maybe it's boiling. You don't want it to boil too much, but a little bit. So you have your water bath ready, and so if you don't see a reaction, right? If you don't see a reaction after mixing it, and you're like observing, is there heat or anything? You don't smell anything. There's no heat change, it seems, no color change, whatever. You can always put it in the water bath for a minute. Doesn't take that long. So after about a minute of boiling it in the water, so if you take your, you got your test tube here and you put it in the water for a little bit, right? So it's in the water. You just got to make sure that water doesn't get inside. So it's boiling. And then, of course, you have your test tube holder. So you could always do it this way. You could set it in like that. And then you could just take it out when you're ready. So after about a minute of it heating up, then what you could do is you could like waft it again and see if you can smell anything or observe anything. If nothing happens, if there's no change, you could always, as a last step, you could reverse the order that you added them. So, for example, if you added silver nitrate first and then you added the other substance, try adding the other substance first and then the silver nitrate and see if that makes a difference. Sometimes that might make a difference. If after all that you don't see any reaction, then you are going to write down no reaction for that. If you do have some sort of observation, then write whatever the observation is. And I'll talk more about that later on. Okay. Okay, everyone. So you've made your observations, and then once you've made your observations, when you've mixed those two substances together, you are then going to record your observations in the lab notebook, in the spot, in that square that you have on your table that you created. Then again, like I said, you're going to empty the test tubes in waste beaker, and then you're going to rinse out your test tubes with DI water. And then you're ready to start again. And like I said, you're going to then go to the next substance down on the list, put those into your test tubes, and then start mixing with the ones on top that line up that have empty squares that line up with that substance. And then you're looking for reactions following those steps that I said before. So you're doing this each time. You're mixing the substance together. You're writing down your observations. So after all of the solutions have been mixed and you've reported your observations in your table that you created, you're going to then empty all the waste into your waste beaker, and then finally you're going to empty the waste beaker into the aqueous metals container. It's the large red container in the lab, and let me show it to you really quick. So if you come over here, you'll see that big red container. That is where you put the aqueous, the metal aqueous, the metal aqueous solutions. So that is the first day where you're doing the knowns. So that's day one. Day two is the exact same thing, except you are now mixing unknowns. So you still have the same 9 solutions that you had before in the first day. They're just now going to be labeled 1 through 9, and then you have to mix them together, make observations again, and then figure out from your observations of your knowns, see what matches up with what. So you're going to have one table for your knowns with all your observations that you made. And then you're going to have a table for your unknowns, and you're going to write down all your observations of mixing the unknowns together. And then you're going to use what you know from about your knowns and try to match them up with your unknowns as best as you can. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Excuse me. I'll see you next time.